Okay, on to the good stuff, IP adapters. These things are so useful, so powerful, yet so easy to use. I think you're really going to enjoy them. In this video, let's take a look at how to get it installed so we can use it with our Flux workflow, and we'll get our feet wet and test a few images. So here we have our IP adapter workflow. You might notice it looks pretty much identical to the standard Flux workflow. The only difference is that we have this one little group up here in the top with a couple of extra nodes, and everything else in the Flux workflow is the same. So let's take a look at this. This node, of course, just loads an image. These are just our standard Flux model loaders. And then we have these two new nodes here, one to load our IP adapter and one to apply it. Off to the side, I have this, which just allows me to load multiple images, but we are not going to do that in this video, so you can ignore that one. Now, the first thing I want to mention is something that I'm talking about in all of my recent videos. All of my model names now have .sft at the end instead of .safetensors. And all I've done is gone into my comfy models and then into these various folders, checkpoints, LoRa's, clip vision, and I've renamed everything from .safetensors to .sft. And of course, this is just a personal preference for me. I like it because it allows me to make my nodes a little bit skinnier. In certain cases, like with this Flux IP adapter, you can see that it still says .safetensors. That's because this node specifically looks for that file name, so I wasn't able to change that. But nearly everything else, like in my clip loader and in my VAE, is all renamed to .sft. If you are an OCD freak like me, you can go into your file explorer and rename everything to .sft. If you don't want to do all that, whenever you pull this workflow into your Comfy, open up your drop-down menu and select your NF4 or whatever that says .safetensors instead of the one that says .sft like it says in my workflow. Just wanted to mention that really quickly so that when you import this workflow and you get a bunch of little red boxes around all of your nodes, you don't freak out. So of course, to get these new nodes, you will just go over to the Patreon, scroll down. Right now it is the latest activity, but if it's not there, you will just be looking for this post right here that says Flux plus IP adapters. As usual, you're going to click on the image, open in a new tab, drag it off to the side, back to Comfy, and drop your image into there. And then once you've done that, you will of course go into your manager and install missing custom nodes and give your Comfy a restart. That will install all of these nodes that you need to run your IP adapter. And then you just need to get these two models. The first one we're going to get from the XLabs IP adapter page. And if you scroll down, you can see they give you all kinds of instructions here. You just need to click on the files and versions. And of course, you want this Flux IP adapter .safetensors. Right click on that, save link as. This is going to go into your Comfy models XLabs, which this folder will have been created when you restarted Comfy and the custom nodes were installed, and then into IP adapter, you will just save it right there. Now, if you go back to this page, you will see in the instructions that they say you also need this clip vision model from OpenAI. Of course, I will leave a link to the XLabs page and to the OpenAI page in the description, so you don't have to come here if you don't want to. When you click that link, it will just take you to this page here. Of course, this model card will tell you all about the clip vision model. You can just click on the files and versions. The one you want is this model.safetensors here. Right click, save link as, Comfy models clip vision. Now the name for this model file, it just says model.safetensors, and since that's not very descriptive, I went ahead and renamed mine to OpenAI clip vit large, again SFT, or you can use the .safetensors, whatever you like. I wanted to give it a descriptive name so that way when I'm looking in my drop down menu, I know which one it is. So you'll just save that right there with whatever name you want to choose. Once you have both of those downloaded, you will just click your little refresh button right there, and when you click these drop down menus, you should be able to select them in here. So again, this just loads those models, and then this one will apply them. And of course, on the apply node, it takes your NF4 model or your dev model if you're using that, and the IP adapter, as well as your input image right there. And there's only one field on this node, so it's nice and easy to use. You just have this strength parameter. So let's test it out. I have this prompt that says a beautiful Nordic Disney princess with big blue eyes and a tiara, wearing jeans and an orange top, standing on a beach. beach. What we're trying to do is use our input image to apply a style to the image we're generating. Let's try this and see how it goes. And with our strength on 0.4, which is a little on the lower end as this scale goes from 0 to 1, this is our result. It did quite a good job at applying the features of our input image to our generated image. You can see the hair is very similar, the facial structure and the eyes are very similar. The top has nearly the same texture, but of course it is a different person and a totally different environment. Let's try turning the strength down and then gradually stepping it up to see what the effects are. We will start at 0.1. It did not apply the features from the input image to this image very much at all. We have a very Disney looking woman, very animated. The top no longer has the same texture and the hair is much blonder and less curly. So let's step it up to 0.3 and give that a try. Wow. So somewhere between 0.1 and 0.3, we go from very Disney to a real life person. Again, we can see the texture of the top is very similar to the texture of the top that the woman is wearing in the input image, and the hair is a little more curly, a little more of the dark streaks in the hair like the woman in our input image. So let's go a little bit higher and see what that does. 0.5. She is starting to look very Nordic indeed, as the woman over on the input image is a very Nordic woman. Very similar facial structure, a lot more dark streaking in the hair like our woman in the input image. And again, the top is very much textured like the top of the woman in the input image. Let's keep going. Let's try 0.7. It is applying the features from the input image much more heavily now. Instead of a bright sunny beach, we now have what looks like a beach at sunset because the input image is a very dimly lit environment. So now our generated image is starting to mimic that more. And so we have a darker beach here instead of a bright sunny beach. Again, the top is the same texture, and now she's even wearing long sleeves as the woman in our input image is. This generated image is 512 by 512, whereas our input image is 1024 by 1024. So that's why this one looks a little bit lower quality. It has nothing to do with the IP adapter. It's just a smaller resolution image. So let's step it up a little bit more, 0.9. And you can see once you start getting up into the higher end of the strength range, we start getting some weird things happening. At this point, it is trying very hard to merge the two images. The facial structure is a little lopsided. The eyes are different sizes. Her top looks kind of unnatural. It kind of looks like it's been pasted on top of the image. But in any case, this doesn't look very real. As you get higher into the strength range, these are the types of effects you're going to see. I guess let's do one more where we bump it up to say 0.97, just for example. Wow. Yeah. So I don't know what this is. At this point, she's not even on a beach. It's trying so hard to merge the style of this image onto this that she's now in a house instead of standing on a beach. And obviously the person here is, I don't know. So you can see that you probably don't want to step it up into that high of a strength. If your two images are very, very similar already, then it may be fine to step it up into the 0.9 and above range. But generally speaking, you're probably going to want to stay under that. The f is up with your lip? That's pretty good. So after a bit of tweaking, I think that 0.25 is a pretty good strength for this particular case. That does a nice job at blending the texture of the top that we can see here in the output image, kind of similar to our input image in terms of the facial features, but it still has a very Disney princess vibe, which is what our prompt was. Now, this is just the beginning with IP adapters. There is so much more that you can do, so I will be putting out a few more videos on IP adapters. For now, we can already see that these IP adapters are quite powerful and very simple to use. All you have to do is tweak that little strength parameter and you can get powerful results. So that's all there is for this one. I hope some of you guys out there found this helpful. I think it's a powerful tool, and between the IP adapters and the control nets, the possibilities are quite literally pretty much endless. As always, I want to hear from you guys on this. If you come up with some cool stuff, be sure to leave links in the description, shoot me an email, or tag me on X. If you found the video helpful, be sure to give it a like, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, and share this with anyone you know who might find it useful as well. I'm going to get on to the control net video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.